590 kg leg sizes.
In your sky, is pleasure. Boom, take pleasure.
Skelton! Lovely from Skelton. Likewise, Skelton. These are happy hours. Here's Skelton. Skelton takes that the inverted line with it.
Deep greeting, googling about the corner.
Hi guys, I'm founder of MyoMaster, Joe Gray, and I'm here today with good friend, rugby superstar, La Rochelle second row, Will Skelton. So thanks for joining me, mate.
Always, mate. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. We'll get straight into it. So can we get a bit of a background of a bit of your upbringing? Where do you come from? How did you get into rugby?
Yeah, so born in Auckland, New Zealand. Moved to Sydney when I was 10. One of three boys. I'm the eldest. Mum and dad, both Samoan heritage. Mum was born in Auckland. Dad was born in Samoa. Moved to New Zealand when he was 21. And then my family moved to Sydney when we were 10. And had my upbringing in the Western Sydney here.
Oh, nice. And you said one of three, so you've obviously got a couple of other brothers.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a man mountain at 6'6".
6'7", yeah.
6'7", 180 kg.
90.
90.
Depends. Pre-season. Swimming off season.
First
Yeah.
pre-season I saw you. No, so like 150 maybe.
Yeah, around 150.
150.
Overs, unders.
Were you always like a big family? Are mum and dad big? Are your brothers big? Is everyone in your family big?
Yeah, well, like you said, man mountain. I'm probably the small mountain in my family.
Smallest
I'm the smallest mountain. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My younger brothers they're towering over me now. So Cameron, he's the middle brother. He's probably, I think he's 209 centimeters, so about 6'9".
Wow.
And then my baby brother, he's 210 plus. So they're like, he's almost 7'. I think he's 7'1", mate. It's so big boys. Big boys.
Do they have weight behind it as well? Like obviously Willie Skelton.
We're talking 2 plus, I think. Yeah.
200 plus.
I don't want to throw them under the bus, but they're big boys. Yeah. They're my brothers.
So you're 180, 190, and they're 200.
So not far off, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's strong. Did you know, like you and your brothers, did you know you were bigger than the average as you were growing up? Were you big kids or not really?
Always, yeah. Always, yeah. You know how you have those stories of like the lock now or the big lock he played fly half back when he was young. Yeah, I was always a prop. I played rugby league.
Not one of yours.
That's not me. That's not me. I played rugby league growing up until I was about 17, 18. So
it's big in Australia.
Very big.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive. Like the grand final was just the other week, and man, it was a spectacle. And I still watch every game. But yeah, growing up
You
playing
love
league,
that up and down running, like being a big lad. Like
I think just more the contact it was.
Yeah.
So in New Zealand, when you grew up, like you wouldn't tackle until you were 9, 10.
Yeah.
So when under 6s, under 7s, when I played, Dad wanted me to learn how to tackle. So that's when I started when I was under 7s, and I loved the sport. And I think I got too big for it, grew out of it, and played and moved to rugby when I was at school, about 15, 16. And then, professionally when I turned 21.
Yeah, nice. And as a kid, did you have any disadvantages from being big? Was there any issues getting kit? Was there anything you can remember?
Boots have always been a struggle.
Go on, hit us. What size feet do you have? I remember, by the way, being
well,
in the
UK, US. So,
Saudis changing room, lads would put their boots on and then grab your boot and put their boot in the boot.
It was a bit disrespectful. It was, yeah. And that still happens to this day. Like I'll show you, I'll send a video to you. But boys just putting their shoes in mine, like full runners inside my runners. But boots have always been a problem. Like that's I think I was size 15 when I was maybe 13 or 14. And then when I turned 15, I was size 17, and that was the struggle. Like there was nothing over 17, 18. So
what
I
are you
used I'm about 18, but 18 US, it'd be 17 UK.
Yeah.
And then I got some custom ones made because I was wearing NFL cleats.
Yeah.
And I still train in NFL cleats because there's no real like a rugby boot that makes my size, like Moldies or.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, so I still train in those, but they're not built for rugby. Like I have to throw them away every 6 months.
Yeah.
They rip easily. And then Asics actually got me they custom made me a boot in 2015. So I've had them ever since.
I remember you saying they custom made the plate of it
Yeah.
to make it obviously 8 stud so that you could scrummage and do everything.
Exactly, yeah. We got it all spec'd out for me, and It was like a prototype boot, and they had to keep changing it because it was a bit small on the toes. Like I wanted a bit more room. And now I can wear them like brand new. I can wear them in the game and play 50, 60, 70 minutes with them without any trouble. So no, it's been a blessing.
And in terms of obviously becoming a rugby player, playing for Australia, captaining Australia, did you always have a dream as a young kid that that's what you want to do, or did it just sort of develop as you got good?
I think it developed. I always wanted to be a professional. So my first cousin, his name was Brad Mika. He was an All Black. Yeah,
Oh,
a
wow.
3-test All Black. Yeah. So he debuted in 2003.
Amazing.
I think you were still playing then. So he would have.
Yeah, young grazer.
Oh, young Gracie running through. No, but yeah, he was someone I aspired to be. He played for the All Blacks, and I grew up in New Zealand, so the dream was to play for the All Blacks. Not even the All Blacks, but play professionally and play for your country. And then when we moved to Sydney, rugby league was the dream. And it was just to become a professional. And then when I see what it took to become, like how hard the work was, and when I started to play academies, Waratahs, training with the big boys, I really wanted to play for Australia. I had that not feeling, but I had that urge to play, to put on the gold jersey. And when it happened, it was amazing.
Nice. And do you remember that transfer from being rugby league, I want to be a rugby league player, to being rugby union? And how did that happen? Because obviously, some people that won't know, it's like football and American football, they're classed as different sports. So people think it's just rugby, but they're actually different sports. So it's quite a big change.
Yeah, it was a big change, but I think because it wasn't my size, I played league a bit differently anyway. I was always I love to ball carry, and you can see that in my game now when I'm playing for my club team and just playing rugby as a man now. But back then it was, I think, like I said, I grew out of it. I was 2 meters, 140 kilos. Like that's not a rugby league build.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I got tapped on the shoulder to, mate, you should give rugby a proper go. And when I turned 18, I went and played Colts at Sydney University, and then I got picked up for the Waratahs Academy from there. And yeah, I've never really fitted the mold in rugby either. Like, they're not the best jumper, like too heavy.
Mate, you were salmon back in the day. We used to let it rain, by the way. You used to let it rain.
Yeah, but it's never been my strong suit. But I've tried to adapt and make sure that other parts of my game are at a high level, so I do get picked in teams.
Yeah, nice. And then you just, last bit, and obviously upbringing and younger years, but you said you remember getting into the professional world and seeing how hard you had to work and stuff. What do you remember about that transition from being at uni, then getting picked up and going into the pro environment? What do you remember about how different it was? What changed to be the high performer you needed to be?
Yeah, I think at Sydney University we had a great program. They had a great high performance program there. It was a few players I play with now, even at La Rochelle, that we got smashed, man. Like, we had to come in real early, 6 o'clock mornings, 6 o'clock start, and then come back at 7 or 8 to do our fitness sessions. And I've always been in the, you probably won't learn too much, the fat club.
No, I've never heard of it. Never heard of it.
But it's always that's a career thing for me, I think. And it's more about, and that's sort of taught me how much you need to be a professional, and how hard you have to work, and work ethic that's carried me through my career. And you do have, there is a balance to it. Like, I love to enjoy myself as well. I love to eat, I love to drink, but it's having that balance throughout the seasons, and that work ethics taught me that I need to get this done to be prepared to play a game of footy and prepared to perform. And for me, that was instilled at a young age.
Love it. And then, sorry, you just made me think of something, so I'm going to ask it. I obviously remember being at Sarries with you. I actually remember my first day in Sarries, met you, and then we went to get weighed on the scales. And Tolu was in front of me and stood on them and was 136, and he's a fellow hooker. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a big man. And then I stood on it at 102, and then I stepped off, and you were the guy behind me who stepped on it on around 156. Around that weight, and then everyone's mouth hit the floor and was like, I can't believe you've put on that much weight in the off season. And we ended up being in Fat Club because my meals were a bit fat. But I remember you became like this superstar second row that had lost 14 kilograms in the pre-season, and he was the brand new Will Skelton. I'm pretty sure he went just from having an afro to shaving your head, which trimmed lots of pounds off you. But I remember your secret weapon of how you lost that much weight. Can you remember what it was? Like, what did you eat to lose that much weight? Because all I remember is you and Kate talking about it non-stop, but you had every meal.
What, like the calorie counting and stuff like that? Or was
Sweet potato. That's all you said you ate.
God, yeah,
all you
sorry.
ate was sweet potato.
So-
It's like, how have you lost? Well, I can eat as much sweet potato as I want, and I'll just eat sweet potato. It's
No,
like, you
well,
can't lose 14 kg from eating sweet potato.
Well, that preseason, I actually got a dietitian, like external to the club,
nice.
and I loved the dietitian at the club. But I think I needed something different.
Yeah.
And we found one online who was a friend of Kate's friend on Instagram, and then she sent me an eating plan, and I remember first reading it was like what 100 grams of protein here, this, and then I'm like 600 grams of sweet potato. I just didn't believe it, and for the first 2 weeks after the program, I said, "No, I'm not doing it." And then I started to eat what was actually I trusted it. I bought into it, and mate, it was getting
Next
back
thing
in
you
the
know,
machine.
you've got a shaved head and you eat sweet
I
potato
shaved
all
the
day
head,
long.
shaved 14 kilos off. No, but yeah, that was a tough. It's funny
Mate, you
that
lost
I'm
a lot of weight.
playing-
You looked unbelievable, and you started carving up.
Man, it's funny. As soon as I left, like the Prem, came to France, like I stated that I'm still around 150s now.
Yeah.
Whereas at Sarries, I get executed for being that weight.
Yeah.
Whereas
No,
here,
no.
it's like the gameplay is a bit different. Like
They want the big men. It's known
they
for
love
France,
it, man.
isn't it? Yeah.
And yeah, I
You
always
love the
think
croissants, they love you. It's fine. It's
the bread loves me, and I love the butter.
So, Skills, what made you stand out, and what was your sort of X factor when you came into the pro environment of rugby?
I think for me it was just charm on like my size. Like I've always been that big kid. I've always been a big player. I wasn't always the best. I was molded as a second row, but I didn't jump. Like I didn't make schoolboy teams because I wasn't the perfect lock.
Yeah.
But so when I came in, I loved the ball carrier. I love the physicality of the game. And my X factor was basically not just being big, but like I was a bigger human. The guys who hadn't really seen that in Australia.
Yeah.
A big number 5 lock who loved to carry, he loved to maul, loved to scrum, and that was basically I tried to get over the gain line every time I carried. I tried to put big hits on, and yeah, basically that was my X factor. But like I really enjoyed that part of the game. And
That is a huge X factor though. And I remember coming to Sarries and knowing of you, but never having obviously played with you. I don't think I played against you at that point. And I remember in training you doing it to me many times where you sort of run over me, get a naughty offload away and the attack goes. But I remember playing and throwing a line out and you not being in the 5-man.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're running a hard line against Exeter, over Steenson, all of a sudden offload.
Memories.
Memories. But that ability for a big man to get, like you say, over the game line, but not only that, you could free your hands and continue the play, which I think is a huge X factor.
No, yeah, well, I try and pride myself on that. Like there's lots of parts of the game that I'm not good at, and those parts of the strengths that I have and that the stuff that I really enjoy, I try and make sure that that's the best part of my game. Yeah.
Nice. And do you think that came that ball carrying ability from league as well, where you have to carry a lot on reps on reps on reps?
100%.
Yeah.
And I when I first transitioned to rugby, it was a body height thing for me too, like making sure I get low, and because I used to stand upright the whole time, I used to get held up a lot, I used to get stripped a lot. So that transition from league to union has been, it's still an ongoing thing now. I still get held up now in carries, and it's trying to find the ground and have a long place. That's all rugby terms, but I think that was born and bred at league. Yeah.
Oh, nice. And then in terms of high performance, what do you think throughout your career to date has been the highest performing environment you've ever been in, and why?
Highest performing environment, I'd have to say Sarries, mate. I think the time that we were there, I wouldn't say like we had the best equipment or the best, like, mate,
Mate,
our
always,
mate, like
Nat
it's
2 team. Literally train there every day, rock up.
And you saw the success that came out of that club, and when we were involved, and I thought highest performing, I performed my highest level, I think, and I became the player that I am today through 3 or 4 years that I was at Sarries, and that only propelled me forward in my career here in France, and then playing for the Wallabies as well. I think the amount of care and love that they had at that club, and also just no frills. Like I said, like the equipment we had, mate, it was humble, man. Like there was literally no excuse.
Yeah.
I think when I first signed at Sarries, they'd already won. I think they won back-to-back, or they won back-to-back Europe, or they were just won Europe. They won Prem a few times, and I'm thinking, man, this is a glamour club. This is like Manchester United. Like it's gonna be And then we rock up, and I'm like, they're like, "All right, Will, you put your boots here. This is your key." I'm like,
Your boots
"What do you
don't
mean?"
fit in your
I'm
little
like, "Oh, so
locker."
can I get 2 keys? I think my boots are too big." But then I'm like, "Wait, so we lock the door, we lock our lockers, and then on the weekends always play against like the away team sheds. This is," and I'm like, "Duh."
Yeah.
And then you just saw how hard they worked, the people behind the club that made them perform so highly, and how the players got the most out of every inch of that place. For me, that was probably the most, the most high performance. That was the highest performance that I've had.
Yeah, I agree, and
environment,
I
so-
have some great memories of Sarries, but the same going in thinking, oh my God, they've won the Premier X times and it's going to be unbelievable, and then going to OAs and I'd actually coach there and being like, we're at OAs, like
Yeah.
where do we actually train? It's on the normal pitch. You got a little tin gym. There's a little porter cabin with watt bikes in,
Yeah.
and I just remember like the way they could push you to push yourself further than other clubs I've been in was just very clever. How it was
Yeah.
ran. I remember Phil doing things where we went in and you'd have your 10-second watt bike max.
Yeah.
But there's a whiteboard with your
Yeah.
name on. They listed your time, so it's a competition. Then you had your heart rate monitor on, and your heart rate's on the screen, so everyone's seeing your heart rate. So if you're not pushing yourself hard enough, then it doesn't show on your heart rate, and then they write your heart rate average down. You want to be in the red, and just mental. I remember one of the pre-seasons doing them deadly Tuesdays and Fridays, and boys coming in and their stats being, I hit 205 max heart rate today, and everyone's like, you should have died. Like,
Yeah,
that's
you
just
shouldn't
ridiculous.
be
Like,
here with
yeah,
us.
what is going on?
Oh,
But
mate, it was so many stories. Like, remember we won the year we won the double
Yeah.
in the Prem final, how we had like a week off, and I'm like, well, why are we training? We were wearing like garbage bags. We had like the sweat,
duct taped on your ankle,
Everything,
like,
yeah.
wrist is mental.
the hot box, as we would call it. They had all these little mini heaters, like electric heaters, in front of every watt bike, and they got to like 45, 50
Yeah.
degrees in there, and that was all framed to get us perform for that final. And then we got the job done. And after we were having beers, thinking, Phil, man, you're right. You did it.
Phil was a man. I remember him doing the presentation and saying the last 5 out of 6 Prem finals have been 30 degrees and above. So this is why you're going to die in heat exhaustion here, so that you'll adapt when you get into the final. And then in the last 20 minutes, beat
what we came
Exeter
through.
when it was 32 degrees, which
Exactly.
was
They're all
amazing.
right, man. Trust your coaches.
Yeah, very clever. Okay, so which player would you say in your career so far you've played with that has had the biggest impact on your career?
Which player?
It's a hard question.
That's a tough question,
Yeah.
mate.
It's a good one though. Which one do you think's had the biggest impact?
Biggest impact. Man, you stumped me here. Oh, because you immediately think of mates. Do you like?
Yeah.
And then
Which
you
I think
think
is
of
important
guys
as
who
well.
challenged you, and it was never really players, man.
I agree. I instantly think of
You know,
friends,
like-
and then I think them friends have made my time better
Yeah.
in the place I was, and made me enjoy it and ultimately perform better because of
I think, okay, I'm going to go real early in my career. It was, there was 2 guys, Wycliffe Palu and Seko Pikipu. They both, when I was coming through, they were late 20s. And they basically taught me where you stand in the locker room, in the team, not hierarchy, but as a young guy, having that respect for the older players, the guys who've been there, done that. For example, it's not really on the field stuff, but it's if there's bags left on the bus, you take them out. You're the young guy, you take them out.
Yeah.
If you're going to the airport together, you're holding the game ready. You're asking boys, you want coffees, you want teas. I think that respect, I learned that real early in my career, and it was from those 2 because I saw them doing that.
Yeah.
And they're always like, well, bro, make sure you do this before, go get that coach's this, go get the physio, make sure you help the physios hold that bag, make sure you get the physio tables. And then in the rugby side, they helped me so much in terms of learning the game plan. They were real welcoming, and I was a young guy, but I could talk to them like we were mates. You know what I mean? Like,
It's so nice. They didn't see you as a threat, so they
Yeah.
were actually trying to pass on wisdom and knowledge
exactly.
to help you, rather than see you as an up and comer and be like, "We're not going to help you."
yeah, for
That's
sure.
really
And now I'm at that stage of my career. I'm trying to help younger guys as well, and trying to teach them not the morals of the ethics of a rugby player, because it's ever changing.
Yeah.
But those key things about respect within your team, I think those are they're massive factors in what's sort of not changed me as a player, but formed me as the player I am today.
So, Skelts, what was your biggest career high to date, and also your biggest career low to date, and why?
Okay, biggest career high. I think this is a tough one. We had one together. That's a massive high. Winning in Newcastle with Sarries. I think
Was
that
a high. I'm going in my head with where you're going, but we'll see.
We'll go. I think I want to go that one, but then winning it with La Rochelle.
Mate, seeing the videos of the town
21,
packed
22.
and what was going on, just
Mate, it's something I've never experienced before. Like I won a Super Rugby title with the Waratahs, and I was actually because it's been the 10-year reunion today, like this year, and we look back at the parade, and I'm like, man, this is like, it's a joke. What we had with the port, we had 40,000 people, with the bus going through. Like we had security along the buses, like just to guide the bus through. So it would go every 3 meters, would stop, and then we'd just have people spraying us and like chants the whole time. And then also that feeling knowing like I left a great team at Sarries to a team that with a lot of ambition, and to win the way we did in the last play of the game against a strong Leinster team. I think for me that's the highest of highs that I've had.
Also to make history here for La Rochelle, who hadn't won it before, I think is amazing.
They've not won anything, man. Like they've not won a trophy. That was the first trophy they've ever won. I think they've won a Pretty Do every now and then, but that's for them. This is their first big trophy, and it's to be a part of that. I think that's the biggest high I've had.
Yeah, it's incredible. I remember on social media it looked like insane. And when you actually think of that contrast of you're on a bus with 40,000 people around you that you can't move, and then we win the double with Sarries and we're walking down St Albans Street holding the trophy, going to pub with
Fancy
no one
dress.
having a clue who we are.
Fancy dresses.
It's just insane.
Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
It was, mate, it's crazy.
Two totally different experiences. And then obviously, what's your lowest low and why?
Lowest low. Oh my gosh. I think rugby-wise, I've lost a fair few finals.
Yeah.
I think losing, I want to say La Rochelle again, but we lost the final my first year here, the European final against Toulouse. We got a red card after I think it was 50 minutes. That it didn't cost us a game. We were still in it the whole time, but losing that way, I remember. I don't really cry after games. Like I'm pretty. I'm not a. But I remember ringing Kate after and just like feeling. I've never had that feeling before. Like I hate losing, but I just felt like this. Like I knew that we had it. Like that was our shot to get it. And then subsequently the next year we won it. But at that time in that moment, that was probably one of the lowest. Having that raw emotion just after and calling Kate, and like I literally broke down on the phone. I was like, man, like because it was COVID as well, so they couldn't couldn't travel. So we played at Twickenham with I think it was only 10,000 people allowed there, and I think that was probably one of the lowest of my career. I felt not that it's a bad thing. I think I learned a lot from that and try to harness that feeling to try and never feel that again in games. But I think that was one of the toughest parts,
So you touched on it there, but what was your biggest learning from that then, and how did you use it as a fuel almost to make you better? So how did you use that low?
I always use it as a reference and a touch point. Even during games when you're down, you've had that feeling when you're behind the post and you feel like you don't have any momentum. I know you're trying to stay in that moment and think about that next job, but then also I've always tried and reflect, like, man, we can't have this again. Like I've been there, boys. We know that feeling before. Let's not let it. We can't have that again. And it's a personal thing for me to keep looking back in those moments and those tough moments, and really seeing like, how did that happen? Like, were they just better than us on the day, or was it my preparation through the week that affected that? And I think that's definitely helped me throughout. And I've always, those lows keep coming. Like it's never going to be win. So for me, it's I've still had a few losses. Like last season, we made the quarterfinal in Europe. We got smoked by Leinster, and then we made a semi-final for top 14, and we got beat again by Toulouse. So there's still lots of learnings to be had, and that will forever help me grow in my career.
So Skelts, do you have any like rituals, things that you go to every week, every game that you sort of have in the locker and you do regularly? What are they if you do?
So yeah, we've got a great facility at training, like our recovery facility that after most sessions I jump in the hot bath, ice bath as well at training, and then at home I really try and get in the ice bath. I just bought a sauna probably about a year now, so we're doing a lot of contrast. Nice. Myself, I try and hit 20 minutes or 30 minutes, not most nights, but every second night before bed, and then I jump in the ice bath to really get that contrast, head rush.
I can see the ice bath. It's a nice one. It's a good brand over there.
Yeah, it's a great brand, mate.
A chiller.
You should
Is
get
that
one.
saying 4 degrees?
It's your face on it, mate. You should see
Yeah, well, I've never seen it. It looks fantastic.
But yeah, no, I try and, for me, routines it's a tricky one because I don't really have something I do every day. Like I don't really have a protocol in it in terms, but I do whatever the body feels. Like if I'm a bit sore in the morning, I'm like, yeah, I'm jumping in. I need to get this done. I need to hurt here. I need to jump in. I need to do 20 minutes in the sauna.
Yeah.
I need to get into the ice bath after. I've got a bit of one it's not out the box, but so most home games I actually like baking. Like I think you know. I think you know this.
I didn't want to say anything, but
I love to bake. I like to. So even most home games, I love to selfishly for myself, and I love to like give energy for the boys. So I make cookies and treats almost every home game. So that on the Thursday,
this wasn't about at Sally's. I didn't have cookies and treats from you.
Yeah, but I'd bring would have like locker room. You had to bring a change room.
Oh yeah, you did do cakes.
You know what I mean? Cakes, but I'd buy the blondies and whatnot. Yeah, so as soon as I came here, I thought of. It's almost like it's become a tradition at the club where boys be asking for cookies on home games. So on captain's run. So on a Thursday, let's say we're playing Saturday, a Thursday night, I'd get all the ingredients and I'd probably be an hour or 2 hours, and it's more therapeutic for me, like to bake and not think about the game too much. And then I'll bake them on like Friday morning and then take them to training.
And you don't eat any while you're baking. It's just
you got to taste them.
You got to taste test is key.
Like, this is what I mean. We're talking about balance. Like, I'm having 7 cookies the night before a game. Like,
yeah.
It's
You're in the sauna just gorging on cookie dough.
That's what I'm doing.
Just for the boys. It's for the boys. You've got to make the boys feel good.
No, but yeah, I'm always, for me, that's become a bit of a routine. Like, something I do that every home game. So that's something that I've been doing a lot. And then in terms of performance, I try and get into the ice bath and the sauna a lot during the week.
So Skelton, obviously you touched on when you were younger, your dream was to become a professional rugby player, was to play for the Wallabies. And obviously as you've got older, you became a professional rugby player, you played for the Wallabies. How has that dream changed and what is it now going forward? Obviously you've won Champions Cups, you've won Premierships, you've won lots of different things, you've been capped many times. So what is your dream now?
Yeah, I think that dream, it evolves. For me, like you said, like it was to play for the Wallabies, it was to become a professional. But once you get that first taste, as you've had, Grazer, it's, man, I want more. Yeah. Like I want more and
like
more
cookie
and
dough.
more. You just got to keep baking.
Yeah,
you got to keep making
more.
It. Yeah, I got some in the freezer actually.
Good. We'll check that later.
But yeah, it's always been, for me, it's always trying to win titles and stuff like that. After I became a professional, like in 2014 was my first real title, winning Super Rugby, and then coming to Europe, like opened my eyes to what rugby was really about. Locker room chats, going on trips to Saris, having 3 p.m. kickoffs into moving to France, having 9 p.m. kickoffs, which is like ridiculous, and I still can't get over that. But I think the dream for me is to keep creating memories, and good and bad, throughout the rest of my career, because I don't have long left. Like I've probably signed till 2028 with La Rochelle, and I'll be 36. Looking at the end of my career,
mate. With your bone structure and size,
I think I'll be right.
Mate,
with the MyoMaster ice bath, I think I'll be.
Well, that's what we just said. The contrast you can
38,
do.
39.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I do love rugby. I love ins and outs, the intricate detail of what it takes to be a rugby player. I really enjoy that facet of the game, and for me, the dream is to continue being in that space, creating memories for myself and my family, and really trying to, those memories of winning trophies is a big one for me.
Yeah, I also think what's really interesting as you get older, and obviously I've been retired for a couple of years now, but is the ability to always keep improving. You're never like a finished article. So the ability to after training get better at whether it be catching, whether it be your carry height, whether it be your scrum techers or your throwing, like you're never quite where you want to be because we're ambitious. So that ability to always keep improving and your salmon jumping, just keep working,
keep going,
just
man.
keep
Just
going.
Hey, but also you got to know your strengths. Like
You do have to know your strengths.
not
I
the
let
best
you
jumper.
carry, and I just step
You
to the
just clean for
side.
me,
I just
brother.
clear. I'll just clear you. So, Skelton, is there any worries about maintaining your peak performance while you're growing a family and being able to maintain that high performance?
Yeah, so I think I touched on recovery as being a main one for me. Getting older, my body's not recovering as quickly as I used to when I was a bit younger. So for me, I think after trainings, it's easy to get into the ice bath, into the hot bath. But having something at home, and hence why I've invested a lot into my body and buying a sauna, having an ice bath at home, having my own time to get my body right, and just making sure that I'm not getting away from that family time, because it's very important in my life. And having Julius watch me from the lounge room doing a sauna, and he's come in a few times, which has been funny, and then avoiding me in the ice bath, which he hates. He absolutely, it's too cold apparently. But he'll get in there soon with me. But being able to do that in the space of my own home and in the comfort of my own home has been great.
So was there any point you felt like you pushed your body too far, and when was that, and why?
Push my body too far. Yeah, I think. Oh, we touched on. I'm a bigger player. 190 kilos apparently.
Well, big man.
But for me, it's always that the scale has always been it's not a. I'm not scared of it, but it's always like, you know what I mean, like weigh-ins for me. We've got endless stories of guys weighing in. And saying they're heavier when they're lighter, or lighter when they're heavier.
I was the opposite, getting heavier because I was too light.
Exactly.
So I'd be down in 2 litres of water and then waddling over to the...
So I've been doing the opposite. I'll be fasting, dehydrating, trying to get my weight down. And as my career's gone on, as I've gotten older, it doesn't worry me nearly as much as it did when I was at Saris or when I was younger at the Waratahs. But that constant fight with that has been, that battle with that, trying to keep my weight down or trying to stay balanced and being able to perform. That's probably been the biggest hurdle, the biggest hurdle in my career. And that's made me push doing extra bike sessions at bloody 10 p.m. at night to make sure that, I ate too much today. I want to smash myself on the watt bike tonight. I want to go sit in the sauna for 45 minutes and dehydrate myself. And that affects me in my training the next day. So I've had to learn and really fight with that throughout my career. And there'll be lots. I don't think it's just me that's had that problem. I think there's been a lot of players, and there will be a lot of players that have that mindset when it comes to performing and making sure that if you have the treats, you do have to pay the. What was that I always say?
It's the same one. I can't remember.
You do the crime, you pay the time.
You pay the time.
You pay the time, and I'm always paying the time. Like I bought my own watt bike. Like, come on, that's. But yeah, I think that's been like that's to answer the question. That's probably been the one where, if I've done something, if I've eaten the wrong foods, or I've had a few beers, I'm gonna go smash myself on the bike and probably push myself too hard, and then the next day, I've come into training and I haven't been able to perform, I haven't been able to improve and perform to the level that I need to within the group, to follow the coach's instructions and whatnot. So making sure that that battle hasn't affected how I'm performing on the weekend.
Nice. And we spoke off camera, but you just said as well how when you were with the Wallabies, you had a few injuries in a row, and then obviously got to a point where your body felt like you needed a rest. Why was that, and why do you think that happened to you?
Yeah, I think so. Touching on it, going into the World Cup, had a really good preparation. Felt really fit, felt really good. Happened to have a calf injury that ruled me out for almost the rest of the World Cup. Came back to La Rochelle, trained for 3 or 4 weeks, then did my hammy. Came back after that was a 4-week injury. Played 10 games, was feeling good. Then done a calf, was out for 8 weeks. So the back-to-back soft tissue injuries for me was an indicator that my body needed a rest. I needed to have a really good off-season, have some time away from footy, and then I was open conversations with Joe, who was the just announced coach. He asked if I was still keen to play for the Wallabies, and I always am. But just being overseas and being away from the country, it's a tough ask because we don't really have. I don't know if you know the eligibility rules. With selecting guys overseas, so it's very hard. There's not many French players who play for the Wallabies because of that reason. And I'm lucky enough to be informed to put my hand up and play. So we had a conversation to say, mate, let's, instead of playing Wales, 2 testing against Wales in Georgia straight after this top 14 season, you go away, have your break. You've earned it. You need to really recover and make sure that you're right for what's to come. And we've got the Grand Slam tour happening. We're playing England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. Hopefully I'm involved, and then we have the Lions coming to touring down under in Australia. So
Incredible.
Bigger picture, it's always, mate, I always want to play for the Wallabies, but it's just making sure the timing's right, and when I do get selected, I'm at the best I can be. I can give my all to the jersey, and that was why we had that little break. And I've been playing club footy and making sure I'm humming to play when I get picked for the Wallabies, hopefully.
So Skelton, I'm going to ask you the big question. What is your memory of MyoMaster? And yeah, I'll just hand it over to you. What do you remember about MyoMaster?
Well, first memory was the drill with the drill head taken off at training, how loud it was.
Mate, that was silent technology right there. They're taking a lot of development.
Mate, this was years ago too, which is it's advanced, it's evolved as well, which has been great. But no, yeah, was that at training? I think you bought 2. You gave 2 to the club, maybe.
Yeah, 2 to the club.
And I'd always just make sure
They actually bought them. That was a business mind working there. They paid for them.
Hey, that's it.
Days.
Look now. Look at you now.
Exactly.
And I remember just going to training and always getting there about 10 minutes earlier, making sure I get the calves. I wouldn't say rubbed, but vibrated. Would you say that? Like
hammered?
Hammered, yeah. It wasn't until, when did you make the thumb piece after that?
I made that about a year later. Yeah.
I remember I'm sure I was like one of the first to get you had the quiet.
You were like the first person to get it. I brought it into training, you were like, I'm having it.
Yeah, I'm like, I need that one. And I would use it like almost every day, doing the feet, doing the calves, making sure the quads are ready. But that was the earliest memory, that loud, it was a drill, wasn't it?
It was a drill, yeah. It was a drill.
Loud drill with your sticker, MyoMaster on it.
Yeah.
No, that was fond memories.
And it says it's a powerful massager when it's whacking against the size 18s, slapping away. Like, it had to be a serious bit of kit to
very strong.
That.
No, I needed that.
And then what's your memory around other products? Because you and Kate have been so supportive. You've bought basically every product we've ever launched and had it. So what's your memory around that from obviously the original jigsaw massager to now?
Yeah, I think it's been, one point in time it helped us was COVID. Like I think we ordered the Myo cuffs. I remember Kate doing a lot of workouts during COVID with like squats and lunges with the occlusion cuffs there. And then I even bought, I remember you telling me how good I don't know, it was this, you just talking up your product. I trusted you. He wasn't even a coach. But remember the pad, the
electro EMS.
So yeah, the EMS. So I remember buying that, and because we used to drive loads like on holidays, and I'd put it on I'd just do it having on my calves and my like quads, like to make sure they're activated if we're driving too long.
Why are you eating cookie dough? You're doing your training session while you're in the car.
Or put it on my abs.
Yeah, I did the abs a lot. Just
trying to do that. No, but there was two things to it. It was obviously the products were great, and then the second thing was trying to support a mate, and we knew how hard and how much you guys put into it, and we loved that with you guys, and we knew the people that you were behind it, like it was all love. So we wanted to help support you guys, and secondly, the product was amazing for us. So we loved using the products, and then I've been trying to hound you for those leg pumps, and now I've got them, and I'm using them every third night.
I was struggling for 7XL, 7 foot, 190 kg leg sizes.
To my knees, those ones.
Yeah, the basic calf ones now for you because I'm doing normal, but. No, mate, I appreciate you saying that. It's really nice. And thank you very much for your guys' support. So final question, Skelts, is recently you and Kate have become investors, which thank you very much and incredible to have you on board. But the question is, why did you become an investor and what are your thoughts in the recovery space?
Yeah, I think selfishly it's been at the end of my career, I'm trying to prolong as long as I can playing rugby, and I know I love the products. I love the ice bath, the compression, the pumps, the leg pumps are helping my legs feel fresh for training sessions. And then secondly, as people, Joe, like we love you guys. Lottie, Otis, we love what you guys are about, how much you've put into this company, and we definitely love your ambition and the drive that you have to propel this company forward. And for us, we had, moving on into probably the next step of my career, to have something like this to fall back on, it's been amazing. So you're definitely inspiring us, myself and Kate, as a family, into that next step. And it's been a awesome ride to see where you guys are coming from, where you guys have came from, because we were there right at the start. Like I remember, like I said before, about the drill bits. Like from that to having saunas, having ice baths. Now I think the space is forever evolving, and for us to be a part of that, I think it was a no brainer for us.